Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling just one single idea, but it's a fascinating one. We're talking about a super simple technique that, get this, promises to unlock the entire universe right inside you.
I know, it sounds a little bit like science fiction, right? But believe it or not, we're diving into a really profound yet simple technique from ancient wisdom that says you can do exactly that. It's a way to actually experience a universe within yourself.
All right, so let's get right into it. We're going to start with the core instruction, the actual how-to. And honestly, this is one of the oldest and frankly simplest centering techniques out there. The key thing to remember, it's a purely physical action.
And it really is that simple. You literally just use your hands to gently close the 7 openings of your head. You know, your eyes, your ears, your nostrils, and your mouth. Now the goal here isn't something mystical or complicated. No, it's totally mechanical. All you're doing is physically stopping your awareness from flowing out into the world.
You know, a good way to think about it is like damming a river. See, when you block the normal path of your senses, your awareness, which is always streaming out into the world, suddenly has nowhere to go. So what does it do? It just kind of pools up inside. And this one little physical action has this, well, profound and immediate effect on your mind.
Okay, so how does this actually work? How does just stopping the outward flow of your senses stop your mind from racing a million miles an hour? I mean, what's the actual mechanism here?
Well, the answer actually lies in a psychological principle you've probably heard of, made famous by the Russian psychologist Pavlov. It's called the conditioned reflex. And believe me, our minds are just a giant web of these kinds of conditioned associations.
And Pavlov's dogs are the perfect example, right? So naturally, food makes a dog salivate. Simple enough. But if you start ringing a bell every single time you give the dog food, pretty soon the dog will start salivating at just the sound of the bell. The bell has become linked, conditioned to that response.
Now, believe it or not, our own minds work the same way. Our thinking process is deeply conditioned with our breathing and the outward flow of our senses. I mean, think about it. Have you ever had a single thought without breathing? Nope. They're totally linked. So if you stop that outflow, even if you just hold your breath for a second, the process that's linked to it, thinking, it also just stops.
So, what happens in that moment of stillness? What's it like? When the outward flow is stopped and your thoughts quiet down, your consciousness starts to gather in a very specific place, and this opens up a whole new kind of perception.
This inner focal point, well, it's traditionally known as the third eye. Now, we're not talking about a physical organ here. It's more like a space, the place where your awareness naturally pools and concentrates when it has nowhere else to go but inward.
And what's so incredible is how this inner space is described. It's not empty. It's not a blank void. The source material says the space between your eyes becomes all-inclusive. Just let that sink in for a second. When all the noise from the outside world is gone, your inner awareness is all that's left. It becomes your entire reality. It literally contains everything.
And this brings us to a really fascinating idea. This difference between two kinds of sight. Your two physical eyes, right? They see the finite, the material world around us. But this third eye, this inner point of perception, it sees the infinite. It doesn't see matter, it sees the energy behind the matter. It's not looking at the world outside, it's seeing the whole universe inside. So, why does any of this matter? What's the big deal? Well, because experiencing this inner space, even for just a moment, can completely flip your understanding of who you are and what reality itself is.
Take, for instance, Swami Ramatirtha. When he had this experience, he didn't just feel, calm or peaceful. He felt cosmic. He actually described the sun, the moon, and the stars as moving inside of him. It's like he became the container for the entire universe.
But a realization this powerful, this reality bending, it can also be incredibly disruptive. And the story of the Sufi mystic Mansoor is a really stark warning of what can happen when this kind of inner truth smashes up against the outer world.
So after reaching this state of all-inclusive awareness, Mansoor was just completely overcome. And he cried out, An al-Haq. Now this translates to, I am the truth, or even more provocatively, I am God. He wasn't trying to be arrogant or anything, he was just trying to describe this incredible experience of total, absolute union.
But to everyone around him, well, this was the ultimate blasphemy. I mean, in their worldview, the created thing cannot be the creator. So his ecstatic declaration was seen as heresy, a crime. And for that, he was publicly executed.
And yet, the story goes that as he was being killed, he was laughing. His certainty was just that absolute, because in his mind, they weren't killing some guy named Mansoor, they were trying to attack the universe itself. And how can you possibly destroy the universe? It's indestructible.
And that right there is the ultimate point. Knowing this inner space isn't just about having a cool, momentary feeling. It's about a complete and total transformation of your relationship with life, and, maybe even more importantly, with death.
The source material is super clear on this. This isn't about believing in an afterlife or some kind of theory. It's described as a direct, personal experience of immortality, of knowing something inside you that simply cannot die.
And when you have that knowledge, it just eradicates fear. Why? Well, think about it. If you are the whole universe, what could possibly harm you? What could anyone take from you? Nothing, because you already contain everything. You stop being this fragile little part, and you become the indestructible whole. So this ancient, incredibly simple technique suggests that the entire cosmos, the deathless, the infinite, it's all just waiting to be discovered. And not out there in the stars above, but right here, in the quiet, all-inclusive space right between your very own eyes.